Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon is a podcast on directing for anybody that's, quite simply, ever watched anything. Visit PeteChatmon.com to get your official podcast merch. Hoodies, hats, jackets, mugs, and other swag. And learn more about your host.
Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon is sponsored by the good folks at Scriptation. Scriptation is the Emmy Award-winning app for production that allows you to mark up scripts, transfer notes, generate breakdowns, and so much more. No matter where you fall on the call sheet, Scriptation makes it easy to go paperless, collaborate with your crew, and save hours of time. Go to scriptation.com/Pete to learn more and receive a special offer exclusive to Let's Shoot listeners. Now, on to the show. All right. Welcome to episode 80 of Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon. Today, we are bringing you last week's live episode from Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles. Now, real quick, if you're looking at this on YouTube, you are now witnessing my new office. What's changed? We painted it with a Portola paint, which is very cool. It's kind of like a clay. And I have reorganized things. I've got my film posters over here to my right for my first feature premium, for my short film Black Card that got picked up by HBO, and for our narrative podcast Wednesday morning. And behind me, I've gone down, reduced the number of seat backs on the wall, but now we've got Insecure, Flight Attendant, Silicon Valley, Reasonable Doubt, Minx, and Fatal Attraction on the wall behind me. So feels good to be in an office that feels like it's an office, and that's that. So if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, just know we do have a visual version, a video version where you can kind of get more engaging content like my office. But continuing with what we're here to do today, we sold out the 190-seat theater at Dynasty Typewriter last week for our screening of Yellowjackets episode 306, directed by me. We followed that with a talk back with the creators and showrunners, Ashey, Lyle, and Bart Nickerson, executive producer and director Jeff Byrd, also a previous guest on the pod. And then we had stars of the show, Courtney Eaton, who plays teen Lottie, and Warren Kole, who plays Jeff Sadecki. In today's episode, you'll hear my introduction to the audience before the screening. Then we'll continue with the panel discussion and a little Yellowjackets trivia. All proceeds from last week's live event went to the Altadena Community Preservation Fund. And that's that. So let's get to it. This is episode 80 of Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon, our first ever live episode featuring the folks behind Showtime's hit television show, Yellowjackets.
Roll sound. Speed.
The interview. Take one.
Action.
All right. I'm that guy. What's up, folks? Good evening and welcome to our first ever episode of Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon. Thank y'all for joining us. Give yourself a hand. You got out the house. Not everybody does that anymore. I'm Pete Chatmon, your host on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your audio podcast. And tonight, I'm your host live in LA at Dynasty Typewriter. Hey! Now, I'm excited to be here with all of you to celebrate Yellowjackets Season 3. They've got 4 episodes left. They've got 4 episodes left, but what a ride it's been so far. Am I right? I had the absolute pleasure of directing episode 306, which you will see in a moment. This is great. I need this. This shit don't happen in my regular life. Now, we're alone in here, right? All right. This is probably my best work in episodic television, y'all. And to our producer and editor, Tristan, you can cut that out of the season finale for the folks at home. Or we could leave it because it's true. Everyone on this episode was at the top of their game. It's an episode with revelations for the series, for the season, and whether you're a diehard Yellowjackets fan or not, I think the storyline and the performances in this episode reach peak TV levels of execution. So I get the sense that some of you have seen the episode already. All right. Well, tonight you'll get to hear from the folks behind the episode and even ask them a few questions. And if you haven't seen it, well, I think you're in for a treat. Shout out to actors who would have memorized this shit. Now, for a few thank yous, or to be specific, 7. Number 1, thank you to Waymo for sponsoring this event. They are changing the game in transportation, and I invite you to go for a life-changing ride. My assistant, Jada, my sister, and my nephew used Waymo to get here tonight. How was it? In 1 to 3 words, what was your experience? Amazing. Amazing, fun, and yeah. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Number 2, thank you to Scriptation for being our sponsor for Season 5 and Season 6 of the podcast. You've seen Scriptation pages from my Yellowjackets script on multiple screens tonight, and all I can say is that I rely on Scriptation more than anything else in my job as a television director. They aren't the premier Emmy Award-winning app for production for nothing. Number 3, thank you to Impact 24 PR for producing this event alongside the Let's Shoot team. I first worked with Impact 24 when we were pushing my flight attendant episode for Emmy consideration a few years back. I don't know if anybody saw that. And I've been happy with all they've done to help push my work out there to the industry. So, directors, writers, and other behind-the-scenes crew, give them a shout. Number 4 of 7 thank yous. Dynasty Typewriter for hosting us tonight. Well deserved. This venue has amazing events every day of the calendar month, it seems, and I urge you to come back and check out their offerings. Number 5. Thank you to my Let's Shoot team for their incredible work in making tonight happen. Tristan Nash is our producer, and yeah, you can clap for them. And I'm a improv a little bit, but this thing began in June of 2020. We were in the beginning of the pandemic, and in many ways, I just kind of missed the camaraderie of being in a location scout van and talking shop with all the various department heads in the van, and I really just wanted to kind of connect with other creatives, hear what they were going through, what their journeys were. And I think fundamentally, I remember the many, many, many lean years between graduating NYU and being hired to direct an episode of television, which was 18 years. And I just wanted to be able to have something that the younger me could have listened to and been inspired and empowered by. So that's why we do it. And so, to Tristan Nash, our producer and editor and maestro of all things podcast, I hired him as a work study in the production office at NYU Film School about 2 decades ago, and had no idea we'd become both great collaborators and great friends. Of course, Jada George is now our co-producer. I don't know if you've been checking your IMDb, but I've updated your credit. And I refer to her as the young mogul in hopes that she'll hire me when I get old and folks forget who I am. Number 6, thank you to my incredible wife, Kelly McCreary, for being here. A little bit more. That's about right. Thank you for being here alongside me since we first met on the set of a little show called Grey's Anatomy in 2017, and also for being here from the ground up when we launched this podcast in June of 2020. I also wrote my book in June of 2020. I was wildin'. She is our announcer, the star of episode 76, and the best mama to our beautiful daughter, Indigo. And number 7, thanks to y'all motherfuckers. Thanks for joining us here in LA and on the live stream wherever you may be. Finally, in a moment of seriousness, but for real. Finally, thank you to all the first responders of the California wildfires. Our hearts go out. Yes. Thank you. Our hearts go out to all those affected by them, and I'm honored to say that all proceeds from tonight's event will go to the Altadena Community Preservation Fund. The Altadena Community Preservation Fund was created to help safeguard generational wealth for the diverse community that calls Altadena home. The Eaton fire destroyed or damaged roughly 9,400 homes and businesses in Altadena. For many of those families experiencing loss, their house represented more than just a home. It was an important foothold into generational prosperity. ACPF provides direct cash assistance to Altadena homeowners, small businesses, and local organizations. These bridge grants can be used to address immediate and midterm needs, including temporary housing, independent adjusters, legal fees, and administrative costs. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. Here is episode 306 of Yellowjackets entitled Thanksgiving, Canada. Written by Libby Hill and Emily St. James, who are here in the house tonight. Do we say in the house or in the building? I don't know. I'm 47 years old. And directed by yours truly. So, thank you.
All right, everybody, let's get the conversation started. Welcome to the first Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon live episode. Here again is your host, Pete Chatmon.
All right. What y'all think? All right. So check it out. It said hold for applause, and I did that. So I am excited to talk to the following creatives and talent behind Yellowjackets. Please join me in welcoming the co-creators, showrunners, and executive producers of Yellowjackets, Ashey, Lyle, and Bart Nickerson. Now, this show, this universe is not possible without this talented brain trust. Here we go. Ashey, what's up? And this is for you. And is Bart? Okay. So this is what we do. It's like production. So next up, Jeff W. Byrd, who serves as executive producer and director of the show, a credit known within the industry as producing director. He's spry on his feet.
I'm not Bart. Bart's coming. I'm not Bart.
Proud to call him a friend, and he also directed episode 305 of Yellowjackets, which set it up. Now,
You want me here, Pete, or you want me to go to the end so you can have
that's great.
Warren and Courtney?
Okay, great. There he is. And it's fair to say that each one of us hail from the Garden State.
Sure do.
Now, you know her as Teen Lottie, but outside of the wilderness, she's known as Courtney Eaton. And her captivating performance humanizes the Lottie we've gotten to know 25 years later. Courtney Eaton, everybody. Welcome. Right there is perfect. And last, but certainly not least, let's welcome Warren Kole, the actor who brings Jeff Sadecki to life with humor. Oh, wait. Hold on now. I was saying hold on now because I kind of got my pen game on right here. He brings Jeff Sadecki to life with humor, humanity, and a handful of honest, heartfelt choices with every take. I'm leaning into the alliteration. His commitment to character is unparalleled, and it was a pleasure to work with him on this episode. All right. So, here's the scene, y'all. Tonight, we're going to chat about the episode you just watched and the show we all love. I've got questions, but they might be horrible, so we will open it up to the audience toward the end. I also invite all of you talented folks to fold in anything you've wanted to talk about during your press tour, because I know how stale that can get, and there's probably shit you want to talk about, and no one ever asked you. So I might not ask you either, but just talk about it. And then we're also going to do a little trivia somewhere during this convo to see just how much you know about your own show. So,
oh God,
we will begin. This is, you can pick. So, I want to start with the Yellowjackets origin story, which I know is not a tweet or an X or whatever we call it. And what would be more of maybe a Facebook or a LinkedIn post as far as length? What inspired you to create this show, and how did you get Showtime to sign up for this beautiful madness?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the origin story, I'm sorry it's not like as exciting. Kind of Ashley and I, we are kind of writing partners, kind of life partners. We're around each other a tremendous amount. And so there are, just a lot of creative conversations kind of going back and forth. And, so just in the kitchen, just while we're doing the business, of life, kind of somebody will say.
I know. So,
we're doing the kitchen business. God, I'm going to go back to the bathroom. This is a disaster already. Well, at least it's not live, so it can be edited out, and this will be great. Okay, so I'm just power through. So there'll be just like a lot of like creative conversations kind of happening between us, where kind of one person will kind of say, how about this kind of thing? And then the other person will be like, I'm not really sure about that. But then maybe a couple days later, they'll be like, hey, that thing you said, it kind of gave me this idea. So there are ideas that just start like, attracting kind of other ideas until there's this like kind of critical mass, which usually kind of looks like our agents being like, hey, do you have any ideas? And then we'll have maybe like, 4 or 5 that have reached the point of, potentially being kind of worthwhile. And then we'll kind of bring it out, to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really simple idea in its concept. And I actually remember we were sitting in my car out front of our house. Yeah. I don't know where we were going or coming from, but I do remember that, which I think is kind of remarkable because I have a terrible memory and we're constantly pitching things to each other. But Bart kind of turned to me at one point and said, hey, because he's always like, hey, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I don't want to think about work right now.
It's not how I sound, just for the record.
I think that it was as simple as, what about like a girls' sports team, plane crash, cannibalism? And I was like, ooh. And then like he said, a lot of things we pitch each other and we just forget about. And the other things will start going, well, what if we did this? Or we could have a character like that. And it became pretty clear pretty early. I think one of the next rounds of things was, and then we see them as adults. And that's, I think, what really hooked both of us in. Because then we were like, ooh, it can be like My So-Called Life meets Twin Peaks, which is my ideal show. So, and it was sort of obviously we went through the very long process of taking the pitch out to producers and to studios. And then once we had a studio and a producer on board, we went out to every network known to man. But Gary Levine at Showtime, who incidentally is the man who put Twin Peaks on the air, which I think is maybe the coolest thing that a person could claim, he just kind of, we pitched him, and apparently we were in the old Showtime offices, and I guess the sun was in his eyes, so he was making this squinty face at us like the whole time, which is not what you want when you're sitting there pitching for 35 minutes. And I remember we walked to the elevator with it was me and Bart and Drew Cummins, who's our exec producer, and Jackie Cesario, who's with the studio at the time. And we went, well, that was good practice. Like, we genuinely thought that was a non-starter. We were so surprised when we got the word that Showtime wanted to do it. And I guess that there's like 10,000 steps in between that, but the rest is sort of history.
That's amazing. I'm going to hop down to Jeffrey W. Byrd. I always knew you. I thought you were Jeff, but
I'm a full Jeffrey.
So
nobody calls me that though.
We had an actor this season call him Jorf.
So I tell everyone that Yellowjackets is a unique directing experience because you're working in many ways on two different shows. One in the wilderness and one in somewhat present day New Jersey, because it's 2021, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then you've got so many different actors with so many different ways of working. Describe working with this cast.
Right in front of them, like right here. Oh God. Well, you know the beauty. First of all, I want to tell y'all that every day I work in this show is a dream come true. So I work with pure geniuses, the 4 geniuses, and the other geniuses out of the actors and the other writers and producers on the show are amazing. So give them a round, please. So it is a dream for me. But so doing it. What's the question, Pete? Like, what is it working with this cast? Yeah. Okay, the cast is amazing, and it's 2 different scenarios. So like, I have the young cast, Courtney and Posse, and that is
easy. Watch it.
No, I'm trying to. And that is the beauty. The beauty of that is that's kind of like me being Uncle Jeff, and talking and making sure everybody's good and making sure there's no sibling rivalries there and things of that nature. And sometimes it happens, but it all gets pieced out. It all gets pieced out. Like I have 3 sisters, so it all gets pieced out. There's that. And then with the grown-up cast, it's like sibling rivalries and the grown cast is amazing as well. I mean, Warren and Posse, Melanie, Christina. I'm walking this line, Ashley. I'm trying to walk this line.
I know.
But it is unique in the fact that you do have to put on 2 different brains. And there's a different brain I use when I'm with the younger cast, because the younger cast is definitely challenging. Like they can sniff out. What I love about the younger cast, they can sniff out bullshit, and and they'll just give you a face. And then if you're giving bullshit, they'll be like, their little head cock, and they'll be like, Jeff, I don't know. And then you gotta, make an adjustment as directing the episode you've experienced, and Bart directing the episode as well has experienced, which is a whole different scenario when Bart writes, and I'll let him speak to that a little later. But and then with the grown-up cast, it is definitely a version of that, but they're a little bit more upfront with the words bullshit. So then that happens too, which is also amazing. It's amazing, it's great, and it's challenging, and that's what it is to make prestige television, which this show is. And being able to, as a director, come in and as a producing director, as one of the EPs, support your point. And the beauty of the script, it gives you enough room, the way it's written, to support your point. And if you can't support your point, then you didn't do your homework as a director, and you're not on the show anymore. So that's how that is.
Yeah, and to that point, before we hop to Courtney, you guys are so collaborative in the process. There are a couple scenes in here where I was like, well, what if we make it a parking lot and she picks up her car, instead of walking down the street, because I had a little idea of a vision of how to kind of present that, and you guys yeah, cool. And sometimes you'll be like, well, what if they stand here? No. Anybody working in TV, that happens. So they can't stand? Okay. So anyhow, moving on. Courtney, you play Teen Lottie in The Wilderness, and Simone Cassell played Lottie in the semi-present day. I'm making that word up. Maybe it'll hold. How does your process as an actor change when you're able to see how another actor embodies your future self? And this is a 2-parter. How did you feel when you saw that your future self was killed?
In denial. We're not going to talk about it because she's going to come back, right? Or at least just me. I'm going to be haunted by Simone, which, please. I love Simone, and I don't get to work with her, but I do. And it's interesting. I think each of the adults and their counterparts had a different system, and Simone really and I just kind of had dinner one night, talked once, and we saw that there was the thread in between. I think with Lottie, I'm hyper aware of knowing too much that is coming for her, because then it becomes really hard to walk the line with Lottie, and she's one of those characters that is walking the line of, are they crazy, or is there something going on, or is she unwell? Never know. But yeah, and then my process from season 1 to season 2, I don't think really changed that much. I'm quite instinctual, and I feel like Lottie kind of has to be that way, because once you start, and trust me, I'm like queen of overthinking, but if you overthink her, it's going to go in a completely different direction that you don't want her to go in. So you kind of just got to ride it out. It's fun.
Awesome. All right, Warren. So let's talk about Jeff. Jeff is, give it up. So Jeff is often seen as a grounded presence in the chaos and often our comedic relief as viewers. I love the moments of levity and sincerity that you brought to the scenes in the hotel room. What is your process to step into his mindset, and how much of that was on the page versus your interpretation?
I don't know how to negotiate this in front of the writers.
Tread carefully.
Do you want to step out?
I will say that earning the trust of this creative team feels really good as an actor. There seemed to be a kind of tacit agreement that maybe we came to at some point where you were going to trust me. You trusted my arm a little bit out there. And I certainly was happy to be in your hands because you have a great sense of humor, which took all the pressure off of me. Jeff doesn't think he's funny. He just is funny, which is what you've written. And my sincerity in fighting for the words that, like the story that you're telling, makes it funny. So it's just a matter of, like anything for me. Like, Courtney, you're like just watching what we saw here. We saw the last maybe 20 minutes. This show is fucking good. Like it's on the big screen with the surround sound. Like, it works. And you guys are amazing. Watching you embody your character, watching Sophie literally being like torn apart at the seams. How Natalie becomes who you know she's going to be in this like multi-dimensional time jump of a story that the audience gets to participate in. It's really cool. I'm not sure the point I'm making here, or what the question even was. But I love
like
being a part of it, man.
This is not a press junket. We're vibing. We're vibing.
I think that it's funny that you say a tacit agreement, because I think it was like explicit. I remember pretty early on you would kind of come to us on set sometimes and be like, is it cool if I like just ad-lib a little here? And
Did I do that?
You did.
You were on to me pretty quickly.
And we were just like, yes. I mean, we absolutely love that. And I think that some of my favorite Jeff moments are your ad-libs. And sometimes it is the words, but what you bring to it. Even, it's the beginning of this episode, right, where Shauna comes in and tells Jeff that Lottie's dead. That's this one, right? Yeah. They're all, I mean, we watched them all 10,000 times.
Deep in
like,
them.
And just the way that you go, are you sure? Like, every time we watched it in the cut, we started cracking up. And that is all Warren. Like that, it takes this man to bring that line into this role.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to also say, it is such a kind of embarrassment of kind of Rich's, the cast and kind of all the people that we get to work with. And to your point before about the trust or, the collaboration, trust is a great word for it. That, kind of if you do have the ability to just kind of work with people that you trust, you just can sort of go, kind of you can all go to the place that is trying to like call you there. And like this is such a beautiful kind of episode. There, a few moments in, the first season and kind of the second season, and kind of this is one of those moments where it's like the show becomes like the fullest expression kind of itself, and there's a run there from kind of the service here sucks, to the kiss that you're just like, well, this is what like we've just always wanted the show to be, and it's so beautifully directed, so beautifully acted. And it's just really so amazing to see it kind of on the big screen.
That's great. That's like it's almost like we worked this out. Because my next question would be for you guys can I'm not thinking of you as a unit, but I don't. But I know you probably both have something to say. But I can say that landing the tone of the show requires finesse, as does blocking so many actors and finding ways to, like, that shit was crazy. You're like, all right, so I got 17 Yellowjackets.
Then you missed one. It's a lot.
It's a
Even
lot.
us, we're like, where should we be? Can I sit?
And obviously you want to be creative and make your days. So my question for you as showrunners, and this is for the directors out here, how often do you get a director's cut and think, what the hell was this director thinking? And if it was me, I will fall on the sword. I'll shrink in the chair, but you can list the moments, but whatever works. I really am curious about that. Also, as someone who's directed 2 episodes, like, you probably have a perspective on that that's unique too.
This feels like a trap because I know that this is live. But what I can say is that you turned in a really strong director's cut, which is such a gift to us. Because, yeah, frankly, there are times where you get a director's cut and you're like, oh no, we're fucked. This show sucks. And often it's just because, to be fair, directors do not have a lot of time with their cut. And I feel like it happened more in season 1 because, as you pointed out, the tone of the show is very specific, and nobody had seen it before. So I think that a lot of people weren't quite sure yet what we were aiming for. I know I had a policy that I would only watch a director's cut if I took a gummy first. After it was 3 episodes in, because I was like, otherwise I'll just cry and be really sad. And also, you'll get director's cuts that are 15 minutes too long, and you're like, oh shit, now we have to cut 15 minutes out of this somehow. It's a process. I mean, they always say that editing and post is the final draft of the script, and I think that is absolutely true. We're very, very hands-on in post, and you turned in a really strong cut, and I think we still... Was your cut a little long? I think it might have been a little long. They're usually long.
These scripts are huge.
Yeah, they're
that's
big
not on
scripts.
the directors. The scripts are gigantic.
And we do that on purpose at this point. We know that we ask to overshoot so that we can cherry pick a little bit. But yeah, when you get a good one, and the first time we saw this, I had not taken a gummy. I probably should have, just because I could just have fun.
They're fun, yeah. It's a good time.
But yeah, I remember the first time Bart and I watched it, and we saw the end, which was really similar in your cut to what lived. That last line of Nelson's, we burst out laughing. We were like, fuck yes, absolutely. I think we rewound it and watched it 2 more times.
Yeah,
we
definitely did. It is the perfect shot, and just, great read. That's just how,
Yeah.
that's
And I
awesome.
know that was a late night. That was a really late night.
So we had I don't even know what we had. It's like working at the post office. You're like, what's the call sheet? I'll be there. We'll shoot it. But we had to finish by 5 because it would start getting blue and we couldn't sell it as night anymore. And we had a drone shot to get and, all this other stuff. And Courtney was screaming. And, it was a lot to get, but it was foot on the gas pedal and 3 cameras. So thank you guys for
But it
doing
kind of adds
that.
to the magic of it when everyone's just witching hour, and especially on our show, I feel like once it hits witching hour, some magic really comes out because we all actually just lose our brains a little in a fun way.
Yeah. So, and Jocelyn, I know you told me this when I walked up to the stage, and then I literally forgot the moment I stepped on. But how much time do I have? Because I want to leave time for the trivia. Someone let me know.
Here come the filibuster answers. Yeah, we're
But
stretching it out.
you know what? I feel like I'd love to open it up to, and I'll start with you, Jeff. Something about the show that you don't get to share often that you would love people who love the show to know about. And I know that's broad, but I feel like you're a man of words.
Something. What's funny? I think was it you, Bart, or Ashey, who just said about because I shouldn't have drank this beer, but Ashey and I are drinking beer. So there was something that either Bart or Ashey brought up in regards to trust. I think it was you, Bart, in regards to trust, and the beauty of this show, cast and writer wise, it is totally about trust, and also getting to it is is about trust. One of the things, funny story, real quick. So in order for me, like season 1, if for those who've seen the show, who watched the show, that means all of y'all. So season 1, I was not on the show. Season 1, there was another me, and I came in season 2, and I had a great meeting with Jonathan, Ashey, and Bart, and a sea of other folks. And that initially, for me, it was really about, you know what, I just want to press them enough to get an episode. And after a while, I was like, I'm not going to get an episode. I just want to just, I'm just going to speak and be me. And I remember there was this story that it was a true story, which is about how I came to the show, meaning how I came to watch the show in season 1. And I remember I was talking to my agent one day, and I said, hey, so when I talked to him, I told him, that, when I saw the show, I was watching it as background noise. It was going to be just this white noise as I was cooking. And my agent was like, don't say that in the meeting. Do not tell them that in the meeting. And I was like, well, but it's the truth though. So as we were talking, it's literally what happened. I was cooking dinner, and this girl I was dating, I was gonna make her dinner, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta watch Yellowjackets because when I get over there, I'm up to episode 3, so you gotta watch 1 and 2. So watch it." I'll say, "Oh, I'll watch it while I cook." And I was like, "Okay, I'm cooking and I'm watching, I'm cooking and I'm watching and I'm watching. Then I'm not cooking, then I'm just watching." And I just literally got hooked on the show. So by the time she got over there was no food cooked. We had to DoorDash, we had to order Uber Eats, right? And I had passed her 3rd episode, so I was already past her episode. And I was just so hooked, and I knew everything. And I watched it. So when we had this meeting, I had a real connection with it. And they didn't know me from Adam, but the trust and the fact that I think, at least, that I was so keyed into the subject matter, and I was so, enthusiastic and passionate about what they created, and also their energy on the Zoom was just amazing in regards to how we could fit together. That speaks to like every meticulous decision that they make about this show. So and it runs across the board with casting, everything. Jonathan, Ashey, and Bart from creating this are always very meticulous. So that's maybe something that folks don't know, because a lot of times, in picking directors and whatever, it's like, oh, agents just throw everybody at you. But like Drew is very involved in the picking of directors. It's a meticulous process. There's no kind of like, oh yeah, and by the way, we'll just throw so and so at it. Nope. Everybody, goes through the Jab and Drew, ringer. Literally, they go through it, and if you can't make it through, you're not going to direct the show. But when you do, you end up with a Pete Chatmon. You end up with, Jennifer Morrison. You end up with a bunch of folks who elevate, an already elevated script. So that's maybe something they don't know.
I just want to say how you came to work on the show. At the beginning of
News to me. Let's hear it.
I think I told you this. I don't remember, but it was the beginning of the season, and we knew that, we had Jeff, we knew that Bart and Jonathan were directing, we knew that Ben Seminoff was going to come back, Anya Adams was going to come back, and we knew we had a couple of slots open. And so Rich Monahan, who's one of the writers on the show, his wife Genevieve, we watched Traitors together. Rich and Genevieve and myself and Alicia, who actually co-wrote episode 7. And so I remember saying to Genevieve, she's a production executive, and she works with a lot of directors on Mythic Quest. So I said, Genevieve, we've got a couple slots. Do you have anybody top of mind that you'd recommend? And she immediately said, Pete Chatmon. Pete Chatmon. You got to get Pete Chatmon. I mean, it was the first and only name she brought up. And she was like, but he's busy. I don't know if you're going to get him. And we came to you. You didn't come to us, which is sort of rare. And we were so excited that the scheduling worked out.
That's awesome. Genevieve is here tonight.
Is she? I can't see anybody. Wait,
Yeah,
Jen, are you
Genevieve's
here?
And Rich is here, right?
Oh.
And Rich.
Rich, who was producing for this episode on set. Yeah,
he was our writer on set.
Did a great job.
And Libby and Emily.
And who? Oh, they're all here. I didn't know any of you were here. Libby and Emily,
the
who
lights
wrote
are
this
bright. You can't really
episode.
see.
That's exciting. They're all our friends, and we love them.
That's amazing. So don't burn bridges, people. That's also the underlying message there. Warren, I could ask you a question, or if you feel like there's anything that you would want to offer the good people here that maybe I wouldn't ask you.
Ask a question, and then I'll see if I can.
All right. So,
Make a choice.
Two-part question, sir. So Jeff's relationship with Shauna is one of the show's most fascinating dynamics. The question is in two parts. Part one, do you see Jeff as someone who truly understands what Shauna has been through, or is he still in the dark about certain things? And part two, how do you and Melanie Lynskey approach building your dynamic? Or you can tell me whatever you want to.
Yeah. I could probably go in and answer that. Sometimes I feel like I was talking with you earlier about there's these fan theories, and like once I'm done doing my thing and all of these great dissections of story and character and relationships going on out, the audience owns it now. And who am I to contradict that or redefine that or whatever? So I am going to abstain from answering that. I know. Wow. I didn't know it'd be that controversial. I love Melanie. We work great together. She's a real easy scene partner and really lucky that we get to work together so much. And briefly, I think Jeff, I was going to say Jeff thinks and... You like that.
He's just method acting.
How could you not let him improv,
He
right?
mythologizes, yeah, right? Sharper than a serpent's tooth over here. Jeff mythologizes so much. He probably thinks he understands things. He doesn't fully understand. But I think something that maybe the audience doesn't know is how hard this young cast is working out there. Like, they're out there. They're out there in the winter, they're out there in the rain, and the mud. Like, the mud doesn't disappear when the camera turns off.
We take it home.
They take it home with them. In probably more ways than one. Like, they're showing a lot of grit.
Not just us. Like, we have the easy go of it. I would say, like, our crew is, like, lugging cameras and tents and, the platform things you walk on, so with costumes. Like, yeah, it's wild out there. But I think I'll speak about doing the second season and the first season, the difference between being on a stage and being on location, at least for me.
At a paintball.
Panther Paintball.
Panther Paintball.
Which is no joke, especially in the winter. But it is almost like a character in itself when you're out there that you get to play with and act with. And the stage was just such a different challenge. And that cabin, that fucking cabin. A fun little tidbit for our wrap present for everyone in season 2. Sophie, Elise, Stephen, and I designed a pack of cards that said, "Fuck this cabin" on it. And when it burnt down, everyone was very happy about it. But I think there's just a magic to getting to film out there, especially, like I was saying before, with Witching Hour, and the trees do talk, and I'm not being Lottie here. Like, the wind goes, and you're covered in dirt, and you go home, and we don't wash our hair for like a week because there's no point. You're just going to get more oil, more dirt the next day. So it just kind of seeps into you. By the end, we are all just like little gremlins that are ready to go home. But it has got like a magic out there. Yeah, I love Panther.
Lovely. That was one of the first things I noticed. I was like, it's muddy.
But you know what? Though, with that said, though, it speaks to, you brought up season 2. It speaks to season 2, because in season 2, we were on a stage for all like the cabin stuff and the outside, a lot of the outside wilderness and snow in there. But a lot of people weren't able to tell because the actors did such a great job pretending and acting that they were out in Panther Paintball still when we were on a nice soundstage.
You remember that trauma.
That, yes, they could tap into season 1. And now everybody was so happy in season 3 to get back to Panther Paintball, until the rain and all that stuff started happening. It's like, oh my God. But they handled it well and just sucked it right on back up from their season 1 energy. I wasn't there for that, but I saw it like living. And, I came in season 2, so I was like, we're leaving the stages? We got to go out in the real world. And it was like, because the stages were like, it felt safe and like, oh, we're in there. And they did the heavy lifting of bringing the wilderness onto the stage. So kudos, hats off.
All right, so Yellowjackets Trivia time. Courtesy of Rich Monahan, who we've already mentioned, former script coordinator and writer now, and human hard drive of all things Yellowjackets. Yes. So I'm gonna cherry pick a couple of these great questions. Thank you. And then we'll get to the audience questions.
I am so stressed out.
But do we buzz in? Is there a scoring system? I need to know how competitive to get.
First
We're
person.
a team, Ashley.
First
We're not.
person to speak.
Yeah, we gotta win.
Gets it.
Hey, this is Stephen Marks, manager and producer with Dialed In Entertainment. Thanks for watching Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon.
Transitions, a director's journey and motivational handbook, is Pete Chatmon's book from Michael Weezy Productions. The reviews are in. Greg Berlanti says, "There's a reason why everyone who works with Pete falls in love with his work. The lessons he imparts here are invaluable. Do yourself a favor and read it cover to cover." From Sarah Gamble, Pete's sharing gold nuggets that will spare you a ton of wasted time and help you channel your drive, talent, and ambition in the most productive way. And from Jesse Williams, this business has everything to do with preparation and expectations. Transitions grounds lessons in reality while empowering our artistry to run free. Not an easy balance to execute. Transitions, a director's journey and motivational handbook is available on Amazon and anywhere else you get your books. Don't forget about your mom and pop shops, people.
Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon is sponsored by the good folks at Scriptation. Scriptation is the Emmy Award-winning app for production that allows you to mark up scripts, transfer notes, generate breakdowns, and so much more. Personally, I use Scriptation daily on every production. While prepping to direct episode 306 of Showtime's Yellowjackets, I was able to annotate and color code my script based on which timeline each scene occurred. Whether it's present-day New Jersey or 25 years ago in the Canadian mountains, being able to track the storyline at a glance allowed me to be quick and efficient on set and into post-production. This is just one of the ways I use the incredible features inside of Scriptation. Go to scriptation.com/Pete to get an exclusive 20% off Scriptation's premium toolkit, Scriptation Industry Pro.
So here we go. In season 2, when Jeff Sadecki worries aloud that he hasn't been adventurous enough in his and Shauna's sex life, he expresses regret about the time he shot down Shauna's suggestion that they try using strawberry lube, dismissing it by saying, quote, "That stuff is for who?"
Bisexuals and goths.
Yes. That's my episode. That's my episode from season 2. That's my episode from season 2.
In the pilot, teenage Shauna and Jackie drive by a pizza place with a sign out front that reads, "We're proud of our boys, varsity baseball, go Jackets." By the end of the episode, what has that sign been vandalized to say?
I mean, I know all of these. This show is our entire life. If I didn't know it.
I don't remember.
I have zero memory of anything.
It says
I
we're
black out.
proud.
I watched it so many times.
We're proud our boys jacket.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so maybe I should not allow you to answer this one. And actually, this one is a good Courtney one. Hold on.
You saw me squirming.
Oh, wait, where is it? Hold on now.
Oh, what a shame. It disappeared.
Okay, boom. In season 1, when a skeptical Mari makes fun of Lottie by replying, "Did Dead Cabin Guy tell you that? Or do you guys just chat about blood and stuff?" Lottie fires back at Mari that she and Dead Cabin Guy mostly just talked about what?
Her and her cousin, right?
You've
Kissing?
met the
Elaborate.
person who is referenced. That's a hint.
See, this is just embarrassing.
Cousin is part of it.
Yeah, no, we mostly just talk about how you and I can hear it in my voice, in my head.
How about, okay, I'll lead you there. Mostly just talked about how Danny Mears
Yep,
dumped you.
for his own cousin.
There you go. All right.
That's better than what I thought, because I thought it was Mari making out with her cousin. And I was like,
Fun fact, Danny Mears is Jonathan Lisco's assistant, and apparently his sisters watched the show without him telling them about this, and they immediately texted and were like, do you watch the show Yellowjackets?
Hilarious. What is the name of small business owner and noted Sandra Bullock enthusiast Van's present-day video store?
oh. I was going to say Vidiot's, but that's the real place.
I'm just going to wait till somebody else.
No, just answer it. Just get us
put
out
us out
of
of
this.
misery.
It's oh my God, it's like.
Rich came up with it.
See, I think part of the problem is that we pitched so many of them. I forget, but it was awesome.
It's while you were streaming.
Yes, yeah.
It was what?
While you were streaming.
All right, and this will
job,
be
Rich.
the final one before the audience questions. In season 3, when the mysterious Walter, played by Elijah Wood, goes incognito in order to tail Shauna's minivan, he dons a disguise and a tinted-out sports car. What does Mastermind Citizen Detective Walter's license plate say?
Oh, that's my episode. I can't answer. That's my episode.
Oh, I literally just saw that the other day.
It is 6 letters.
I do know this one.
Like Walters? No.
Oh, wait, what'd you say?
Walters? It's Walter. It's something to do with his name.
Wait, did you direct this to someone?
I did not. This was...
It's my episode.
Oh,
so
is that
I mean,
my
I
answer?
can.
Get the point then.
Yeah, get the point.
It's Notwlter, not
Not Walt.
Not Walter.
Not Walt.
Not Walter, which
Not
was...
Walter.
Well, according to Rich, it's NT... Hold on now.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it's NTW.
I thought it was NOTW.
NTWLTR.
Yeah.
The detail.
That was Margot's pitch. Margot Reddy, our production designer, she was very excited about it.
Great. It was great. Oh, so many. Back to that fan theory stuff. So many fan theory things about that. It was amazing. I love watching them.
Audience questions. Do we have any?
Of course there are.
All right. Oh, lights. Oh, boy.
We're going to run a microphone around to whoever is asking the question so they can be heard in the stream.
I see you, Rich.
Hi. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I've been such a fan of the show since it came out. Like, it's my hobby. So I have so many questions. Oh my God. How much of the writing and the creation process, how much of the foreshadowing is happy accidents and how much of it is true foreshadowing? Good question. Thank you. Yes.
I don't know if you could answer that one.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I mean, a lot of it is planned. There are some happy accidents. I think my favorite happy accident, which blew our minds when we saw it, was in the pilot. It's crazy. We had scripted in that Shauna's listening to Liz Phair as she's waiting for Jackie to leave her house. And what we did not realize in just absolute kismet, like the universe looking out for us, is that the lyric as Jeff is running across Jackie's lawn is he walks in clouds of glitter. And we were like, holy shit. And that, I will admit, I wished we could take credit for it, but that was not planned. But I would say hopefully the majority is planned.
Yeah, but 60-40. Yeah. No, and not to try to take too much credit for kind of kismet, but I do also think that we and the show and kind of all the writers have a very kind of intuitive approach kind of also. So so there's a lot of planning, but you're also just sort of trying to move where the story's trying to move you, and then I think that's a great way to be open to these kind of synchronicities that feel like kind of accidents and kind of surprises, but that's really just the order kind of in the chaos that is kind of finding you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Who else? Let's go right here. Very supportive audience.
Hello. Also, again, big fan. I mean, I'm sure we all are here. Mine's kind of a two-parter that kind of relates to what you guys were talking about. One for 305 specifically. I know this scene with like Ty's family, like Simone and Sammy, was kind of short. So I was wondering, was there kind of more to that? Are we going to see more of her family again in that and kind of that storyline? And two, since you guys were talking about like deleted scenes, is there anything that kind of was on the cutting room floor that you kind of wish had made it, or something you never talked about before?
These folks should have a podcast, because as expected, their questions are better than mine.
I can't wait till there's a bad one and people are just like, boo. That's a terrible question.
I feel like this is a question for you, Jeff.
I know that. Yeah, that's my episode, right? 305. Yes. I'm sorry. What was the question again? Because I thought y'all were gonna do it.
No, you're good. You're totally good. Yeah, one about the scene with like Simone and Sammy when they're like in the I think it's like a playground of.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah. Was
yes.
there more to that? And then just cutting scenes in general.
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question, because I didn't tell y'all yet. But I love the way y'all cut that. I love the way there was we went back and revisited that. I never thought how to cut that in my head the way you did. So it was so great. Sammy and Simone, they're amazing. I mean, obviously, Ashey and Bart will know if we see them again in season 4. But I loved seeing them in my episode, and I love being able to. I was watching one of these YouTubers, after the show, kind of recap scenarios and going over the show, and there was this wonderful look that Simone gives to Van, this wonderful blackety black side eye that Simone gives to Van, that kind of we were talking about Kismet, kind of happened on its own from a real place with Simone's character. And I personally would love to see more of them in season 4, but it's good. And also to me, it's great to see Sammy kind of deal with his mom on the way of yo. You mom or mom? So that to me was amazing. So they'll answer the heart of that question, but for me, I'm so glad you noticed it and you brought that up.
I don't know that, it's interesting. As Jeff said, we ended up cutting that scene differently than it was scripted. It wasn't really longer, but originally the entirety of it played out in the one scene. And we realized when we were putting the episode together that it worked better to kind of leave the lingering question of what had happened between Thaisa and Sammy. And so that was a decision that we made in post. It always cracks me up when everyone's like, I want to see, I want to get Thaisa and Sammy and Simone. And I'm like, do you hate Sammy and Simone? Because Thaisa is not a good idea for them, in any way, shape, or form. We love Rukia and Aiden, who play Simone and Sammy. It is a little tricky. This is sort of, some inside baseball stuff. But here's a fun fact about kids, is that when you shoot a series over the course of 6 years, the little kids get a lot bigger.
It's been 2 weeks in your storyline. Yeah, he's taller
so
now.
It's, in a way, it's funny because when we were casting originally the entire show, when we first started the casting process, Bart and I had talked about, and we talked with Karin about, is it interesting if we cast real teenagers? And we read, and it makes it so much harder because there are a lot of rules and regulations about actors under the age of 18. So studios and network, they don't like you to do that if you can possibly avoid it. But frankly, when we brought in, actual 15 and 16-year-olds, we're like, these are children. They look so young. I think part of it is just we're so acclimated to watching people play younger that when you see an actual 15-year-old, they look 11 to you. And you're like, oh, no, we can't do this to 11-year-olds. And so I think that also it ended up being smart, not just from sort of a production standpoint, but because, all of you were in your sort of late teens and early 20s when we started, I don't see the difference as much in over the years. You're just ageless. You're all ageless, beatific creatures. And that's, I think, played to our benefit.
So one more, but only if your question elicits a short answer, because I've been told to I got to wrap it up. So who feels confident that they've got a one-word answer? I'm joking, but okay, Yes.
Can you talk about the boat Repo cutaway? The fictitious TV scene in 3 words, thanks.
The Repo boat? Oh my, that's not a 3-word answer. I'm gonna try so hard. But it was a joke in the writer's room. We all love trashy reality television. We invented, again, Rich and Omni in episode 2. I think we pitched on a lot of ideas, and they pitched Repo divorcees, and we were like, what does it mean, though? Like, what does that mean? And there was a lot of talk of, like, are the divorcees doing the repoing? And then we landed in that direction, but it could have gone either way. And Jeff directed it, and we did an entire day's shoot. And that actually, we had so much fun. The entire crew was so excited, because, usually we're out in the wilderness and everything's dirty, and this was just nothing but, like, shiny things and hair and makeup. Everyone had fun. And this also answers the cutting room floor question. There is more Repo divorcees than we know what to do with.
It's actually going to be a spin-off.
Yeah, it's an entire spin-off. Desiree the divorcee has more to say. And we hope to be able to show it to everybody at some point, because it's so much fun.
Those actresses did such an amazing job. They were so happy to be there, and they were just like so motivated. And Ashley and Alicia were just like, every single take, it was just like, oh, more of this. Oh, yeah, more of that. Oh, my God.
We did an entire intro sequence that I really want to show the world, and it's like classic housewives, and they've got their keychains with their Repo trucks, and we were just all having a ball. We were like, okay, now do a take where you raise your champagne but you miss your mouth. Like, we had so much fun with it.
That's actually going to be Simone's story in season 4. She's going to become a Repo divorcee.
So that is a perfect way to conclude. I know we can go on and on about this episode and what's next for the Yellowjackets, but that's all the time we have. I'd love to thank our amazing guests, Ashley, Bart, Courtney, Warren, and Jeff. Thank you to Waymo for sponsoring, our friends at Scriptation, Impact 24 PR, Dynasty Typewriter, the Let's Shoot podcast team, and to all of you out here for joining us.
Thank you, Pete.
Hey.
Thank you for doing this, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really,
it's the first one of many, Pete Chatmon.
Yes.
Clear your schedule for season 4.
Hey, well, done. I'm just gonna put today Yellowjackets. I'm just gonna repeat daily until I get. I look forward to it. It's an honor. Stay tuned for more podcast episodes by following us on Instagram via @Let'sShootWithPeteChatmon. I gotta do this shit, y'all. It's my job. Or @PeteChatmon @ChatMon. If you're new to the show, we've got over 79 hours of interviews with the likes of Issa Rae, Kelly Cuoco, Rob McElhenney, Aya Cash, Kelly McCreary. She's here tonight. Paris Barclay, Millicent Shelton, and more. Our current episode today features my manager, Stephen Marks, who's also here. Oh, there he is. And we get into stuff that a lot of folks want to know, the difference between the agent-manager relationship, how to best take advantage of it, and it's good stuff. It's the kind of stuff I wish I would have known, and even still, I learn with every interview. Next week, episode 80 drops. That'll be featuring me. And I invite you to visit the Altadena Community Preservation Fund for ways on how you can give back to community affected by the California wildfires. So, as I sign off on every podcast, maybe it'll enter good night, good luck status, but I always say, stay safe, spread love, and keep creating. All right, thank y'all.
What's up, people? This is Pete Chatmon. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter via @PeteChatmon. Follow the pod on IG via @Let'sShootWithPeteChatmon, and hit up our mailbag with questions, suggestions, or hey, donations if you're feeling like it via Let'sShootWithPeteChatmon@gmail.com. And just in case you need to know how to spell it, that's Pete with the last name Chatmon. Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon is produced and edited by the multi-talented cut creator Tristan Nash. Assistant produced by the young mogul Jada George and features the wonderfully gifted Kelly McCreary as our announcer. It's written by yours truly, but I mostly come up with these questions on the fly, which you've probably noticed. Go ahead and get your podcast swag via PeteChatmon.com and leave a review on iTunes if so inclined. That shit matters. Let's Shoot with Pete Chatmon is sponsored by Scriptation. Scriptation makes it easy to go paperless on set, increase your productivity, and save hours of time. Let's Shoot listeners get a special discount on Scriptation Industry Pro. Go to scriptation.com/Pete to learn more. All right, thanks for watching and listening. No matter how you consume this pod, we thank you. Tune in next week for our season 6 finale as I bring it home with a special craft episode. As always, stay tuned, and in the meantime, stay safe, spread love, and keep creating.